welcome to the MudRoom, our weekly free and live uncommon sense parenting class. How is everybody today? This is the last MudRoom of 2020. I can't believe it. 2020 has felt like a decade in and of itself. So honestly, I was a little bit thrown when I realized this morning that this was the last episode of the year. It feels kind of surreal. I hope my American friends are having a good day gearing up for their Thanksgiving. I hope everybody else is just enjoying the sales. I'm going with my mom this weekend to do any Christmas shopping that I can't do online so that it's just kind of out of the way. So I'm really looking forward to that because I haven't left my house for more than like an hour to pick up toilet paper and bananas in months. So the idea of going out and going out childless is pretty exciting. I know, my 17-year-old self is like shaking her head at me right now, the things that you find exciting when you're in your 30s and it's a pandemic, right? Like, things have changed, y'all. Things have changed. All right. Before we jump into our final topic of the year, allow me to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Allana Robinson, and I'm a parenting coach for parents of toddlers, preschoolers, and kindergartners. I help you understand why your children are misbehaving and how to fix it without yelling, shaming, or timeouts. I'm your host here on the MudRoom. I'm also the host of the Parenting Posse group, and I'm the creator and facilitator of the ParentAbility program, where I help you raise well-behaved kids of your own. So, the other week, I asked a pretty simple question in the Parenting Posse. I asked members to fill in the blank. When my child misbehaves, it makes me feel blank. And we got lots of responses, but they weren't super surprising to me. Y'all said that it makes you feel exhausted, like a failure, like you're losing control, like you're being challenged. I think my personal favorite one was vague dread. Because, I mean, how nail on the head is that? Thank you for your honesty. Overwhelmed, disrespected, angry, stressed, like you just want to sit down and cry. I get it. It sucks when our kids misbehave. Something that struck me about all of these responses, though, was that not a single one of them was even mildly positive, and they all kind of centered around accomplishment. Not a single parent said that misbehavior made them curious or confused or alarmed even. Every single response implied that you're taking on your child's misbehavior as a personal shortcoming, something that you failed to do. And I find that really alarming because here's the truth. No matter what you do, there is no such thing as a perfect child. There is no such thing as a child who doesn't misbehave ever. Because they're human, they aren't robots. It doesn't matter how perfect a parent you are, your child is always going to misbehave at some point. Always. Because that's how children learn. That's how children figure out what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. That's how children figure out where their limits are. That's how children figure out the cultural norms of their community. By pushing boundaries and observing which ones the adults and the other people around them push back on. And by observing how other people react to their behavior. All kids misbehave, and that's why you'll never see me guaranteeing that your child won't misbehave or that I can quote-unquote fix your child, because there's nothing wrong with your child. That's not a promise that I can keep. Every child is going to misbehave when they're stressed and the demand to use their skills outstrips their capacity. Period. Full stop. All of them. That's why I tell you so many stories about my own children misbehaving, because it doesn't matter how consistent you are, your child is still going to have instances of misbehavior. It's inevitable. So if I can't stop your child from misbehaving, what can I do? Why am I here? Why do I show up every week and talk to you? Well, I can teach you how to spot when it's going to happen before it happens, how to quickly diagnose why it happened, and how to respond in a way that de-escalates it and prevents it from happening again. Which is not the same thing as fixing it, but is pretty freaking close. Here's the catch, though. I can only teach you those things if you're willing to be wrong. What? What? The secret, the trick to getting your kid to behave well, is to stop pretending that you're some kind of omniscient being that's supposed to know everything. I get it. As moms, we want to have all the answers. We want to be the expert on our own kid. But you can't become the expert on your own kid if you aren't willing to learn about them. You need to be able to take a deep breath, take a step back, and look at your child's misbehavior as a red flag. As a big old X that just marks the spot with a label that says dig here. There is something here that your child needs to learn. There is something here that isn't working the way that it's supposed to. There's something here that's causing them difficulty. There is something that they are struggling with here, right here. And instead of being embarrassed by it or frustrated by it or overwhelmed by it, being curious about it. I wonder why this is happening. I wonder why this is so hard for you right now. I wonder what would make this easier. Now that said, I understand why most parents don't react that way. I get why parents are scared of being wrong, because we're scared of being judged. We're scared that if we show any kind of quote-unquote weakness or uncertainty, that somebody's going to shame us, that we'll be deemed a bad parent or unworthy of our kids, or someone is going to think that we're stupid, God forbid. We want people to think the best of us and the best of our kids. That's natural. But it's also kind of getting in our way. Experts don't know everything. They just know where to look for answers. I'm not a parenting expert because I know everything that there is to know about parenting children. I'm a parenting expert because I understand how children work and how to figure out what's going on with them. I'm going to say it again. Did you hear that? I still need to figure out what's going on with them. I don't just inherently know it. But I can make an educated guess, and I know where to start looking for answers. And you know how I got good at making educated guesses that generally pay dividends? I was wrong a lot. I missed the mark a lot, and thank you to all of those parents who lent me their children and allowed me to make mistakes with them. I tried a lot of stuff that didn't work at all. But you cannot get better at parenting your kids if you're not willing to screw up every now and again. If every time your child isn't perfect, you spiral into shaming yourself and judging yourself. You can't figure out what works if you never figure out what doesn't work. Those two things are mutually inclusive. They have to happen together. You can't try new things or different approaches if you're so scared of being judged that you never tell anyone what's going on. I had a call recently with a newer client, and I'm telling you this with her permission. So if you've ever been on a call with me, I always start by asking, so what's going on with your kids? And when I asked her that, she broke down crying and told me that she had never told anyone what was going on with her kids before. The very first thing she said to me was, I'm afraid you're going to think I'm a horrible mother because I've done everything wrong. And after sending her just tons of virtual love and, taking some deep breaths, I told her how proud I was of her for spending all that time figuring out what doesn't work. And then for realizing that she'd reached the end of her personal capacity and reaching out for support when she ran out of ideas. That is how you become an expert. That is how you gain confidence. That is how you figure out what does work. The idea that you've got to figure it all out by yourself and be perfect is keeping you stuck. So for that reason, I decided to end off 2020 by running my popular workshop, How to Raise Well-Behaved Kids Without Yelling, Shaming, or Timeouts, live for the only time this year. In fact, I don't think I've ever actually run this class live before that I can remember. Over 2,000 people have taken this class this year, but I don't think I've ever actually run it live before. If you've attended a class with me in years past, this is a different one. In this class, I'm revealing my entire framework, the whole process that my clients go through from start to finish. I'm going to share with you the 3 mistakes that literally every single parent, including myself, makes that are actually causing your kids to misbehave more, worse, more frequently. These 3 things are making your life harder. I can guarantee it. But they're also actually really easy to just stop doing. I'm going to tell you how to recognize when your child is most likely to misbehave and how to stop it before it even happens. There are tells, just like in a game of poker. But you need to know what to look for. So I'm going to tell you what to look for. And then I'm going to share with you the whole ParentAbility process, what we focus on and why, and in what order, so that you can steal it and put it to work for your family. And as I said, this is your last shot before 2021. I work year round and I rarely take time off, but in December, I shut everything extraneous down and I just focus on getting my clients ready for the new year. Because like it or not, we measure time in years, and the new year is a time for change and growth. And this year in particular, it's time to start fresh. 2020 has been so heavy. It stretched us to the limits that we didn't even know we could get to. So we've got to close it off right, and we've got to start looking forward. I don't do the MudRoom in December. I don't run workshops in December. I don't do anything other than celebrate Christmas with my family and focus on getting my clients into a good spot and raring to go for 2021. So this is it. This is your last call. I am running this class tonight at 8:30 p.m. and Friday at 11 a.m. Same workshop, both Eastern time, and the link for you to register for free is in the description. Okay? You are rock stars. And being wrong sometimes, not being perfect, using trial and error, tweaking what doesn't work, doing more of what does, doesn't make you any less of one. In fact, that's what makes you a rock star. Okay? As we go into 2021, it is my deepest wish that everyone take 2020 as a lesson in not being perfect and asking for help when we need it. It's the only way that we're going to survive this decade. So, bye for now. I am wishing you all the happiest of holidays, whatever you celebrate or don't. And I'll see you in 2021. Bye.